Nii. Tere kõigile! Ma sujuvalt liigun üle inglise keele peale, sest me viime täna enda seminariprogrammi läbi inglise keeles. So we will be conducting this session in English. I'm very happy to be here and nice to see so many of you here. As you heard, we will be connecting our volunteer Alessandra Cardin, who is currently in Ghana, and we will give floor to her to share about what she has been up to volunteering in Ghana, share more about herself. And this session also gives you an opportunity to ask questions. So later we will share with you a QR code to Mentimeter, so you'll be able to submit questions anonymously, and then we can go through them and answer them. I will briefly introduce maybe a little bit about why we have Alessandra in Ghana. So in Mondo, we have volunteering projects in humanitarian aid. You've probably heard today a lot of different volunteering opportunities that organizations offer, and Mondo deploys volunteers in the humanitarian aid topic. So you can volunteer in education, in environment, in digital skills, in youth work, but you would be deployed in kind of humanitarian aid settings. So more rural areas in countries like Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, and Georgia. Let's hear a bit more about Alessandra, and then we can go into asking some more questions from her. So Alessandra, please introduce yourself a little bit and explain what your role is in Ghana.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alessandra, and I come from Italy. I'm 27 years old, and I'm volunteering right now in Ghana, as Julia said. And I live right now in Tamale, which is a town in the north of Ghana, in the northern region. And right, as you can see, it's pretty hot here right now. It's around 35 degrees, very different from the Estonian weather right now. So what I do here, first of all, I'm here since October 8th. So it's actually 2 months since my arrival right now. And I'm volunteering in an organization that is called GDCA, also Ghana Developing Communities Association. And my role is Women, Digital Skills and Financial Advisor. So what my daily tasks are is to try and find a way as advisor to give women in rural communities, so in villages, in the savannah, to get them competencies they would not have otherwise, and in my case is that digital and financial competencies. But sometimes you can see once you arrive on the field that your mission can be drifting a little bit from your original one, and sometimes it can be from English, numeracy, literacy to digital skills, or just livelihood in general. Your mission can be shaped a little bit alongside the needs you encounter on the field. I will cut it short here, so if you have questions, you can ask, and I would be happy to answer.
Thank you, Alessandra. Maybe now is a good time to switch to the QR code on Menti, so you can already start submitting your questions, and then we can come back to them later. I have them here open on my phone, so I'll see the incoming questions. In the meantime, just a moment for you to scan the QR code. But I'm curious, I have a question for Alessandra. So, Alessandra, you explained that what you are kind of doing there and what your role involves, but what in the first place inspired you to volunteer in Ghana, and what inspired you to volunteer for this specific role? Could you share a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So thank you very much, Julia, for this question. First of all, I have a master's degree in international cooperation. So I was a little bit already in my interest since university to get a little bit more into discovering how this world works. I'm pretty curious about different cultures, politics. I'm just such a curious person, and I think that's the most important thing that pushed me to go through this journey. What I wanted to do in my life was to work to give people a better chance at life. That was my main goal in life. And I thought that working for NGOs would have been the best way to do it. But while I was studying, I also realized that I knew really a little about the world. I knew a lot on the books, but I didn't get any field experience. And I don't know if any of you is interested in working in international development or cooperation, or just have a great experience in general for your personal life. You might just understand at a certain point that what you know is so tiny compared to what the world has to give and what it has to show you. And that's why I also decided that I wanted to go and explore it myself, see with my own eyes. Because when you read books, you get an idea, you see pictures, you see videos, for in my case of Africa, and you get yourself into an idea. And when you get to the field, you actually quite understand that it can be really different from how the media sold you certain ideas of developing countries. And I really advise you, if you're curious, just take your chance and go, because it will be really eye-opening. And for me, professionally speaking, it was also a way to get an experience that otherwise is very difficult to get while just working as a young professional in an NGO. Before getting to be deployed, it might take a while. And I thought that this was my best chance to get an experience that was just unique.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Alessandra. So there is one question on Mentimeter, but I encourage you to ask more questions. So I'm going to give a few more moments to submit more questions from the audience's side. And I would like to know more, Alessandra, about your typical day there. So what is your day-to-day as a women digital and financial inclusion advisor? How much do you go to the field? How much is documentation and reporting? What do you actually kind of do there day to day?
Yes, so our day starts at 8 in the office and ends at 5. And we have 1 hour of lunch pause. But one thing you really might you can discover here, which is really different from our European mindset, is that time is perceived really differently. So 1 hour pause doesn't mean that if after 1 hour you're not back, it will be a problem. Like, for example, it was my case in Europe. But if you take 2 hours lunch pause and you still get to do your work done, then it's fine. No one is there for you to really ticking the clock, looking at you every minute. So you get to see that the office work here is very different, because it's more up to you to get your own schedule and to be organized, to get your own work done. And you will then report, of course, to your managers, to your mentor, but you don't feel the same type of pressure, in my opinion, and also in the other volunteers' opinion, as you might feel back in Europe for me, but in Europe for you right now. So basically, the day is actually quite a bit gone with the office work, because we then get out at office at 5, and the sunset is at 6, so you get 1 extra hour of light to do whatever you want to do. And so what I do basically since I've been doing since October is I've been developing my own project, which takes quite a few time to do all of the engineering behind it. Also, I went to the field quite a few times. Going to the field means that you go and visit the communities that are the beneficiaries or the target of the project. You go and visit them. You have meetings with these communities, because it's very important that when you work with communities, you understand what their needs are and not what you think that their needs are. That's a really important thing to ponder when you go on the field. Sometimes we see something, we see a situation, and we think that we already know what is best for them. But you might just realize that what you think is best for them is not really best for them, is what European mindset thinks is the best. So you might also have to review a little bit your ideas when you go in the field. And this is the most challenging and beautiful thing that you can have on the field also. And so how often, I can't maybe I went around 8 times on the field, which also is very exhausting because you're underneath the burning sun. So you make sure you have your solar cream with you. You have a hat to protect yourself and not to get burned. And you will have a great experience if you just take some precautions.
Thank you so much. I think you raised a good point here that when you're working in humanitarian aid, and I think generally in any type of volunteering, you go with your own kind of mindset and your own thoughts and ideas on what could work best in the community. But the best kind of approach would be to collaborate with the community themselves and really integrate there deeply, get to know what the issues are, and co-develop solutions for them. That's why our volunteering deployments are usually 6 to 9 months in length, could even be longer if you want them to be. But that really makes it possible for you to kind of dig deep into the rooted issues, really gain the trust in the community for your interventions and get to know the people and develop the solutions with them. So I think that's a really good point that you raised there as well. Do you have, Alessandra, a story or a person or something that has stayed with you? You've been on the field now for 2 months. So you mentioned that you've been on the to do like field work and stuff. So has there been anything that has really kind of resonated with you, stayed with you, that you think you want to share with the others?
Yes. So it's not really someone's story, but it's more something that shocked me. It's in general children. It's really shocking, especially when you go in the villages, to see how kids are brought up, how they live their daily life, and you realize just how much difference there is by looking at the kids. I have seen in the villages kids running barefoot in a 35 degrees hot weather with just a tiny t-shirt on. Running up and down. Right now the season is really dry, so it means that all of the foliage, like all of trees and plants, are getting very dry, so they really hurt when you touch them, and they just run on them like if it was sand. And you might see 2 years old, 3 years old kids just wandering in the savannah in a couple with bringing things to go along with. They look like tiny humans, but they're just maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years old, and they don't look like they have this age. They look like they're already like men or women, and you just realize how we are not so fragile as we sometimes think. And I was shocked to see how independent they were, how not scared of anything they were, and also the parents. Sometimes I think I don't know, I have a 2 years old niece, so I can see, like, for example, my brother is always really concerned about her, whatever she's doing, everything could be dangerous. But when you come here and you realize how much freedom kids have and how they're just left randomly, not alone, but just be themselves, and in a situation you think they're very dangerous on our side, but they are actually not. You realize that we are not as fragile as we think we are. And that's something that really shocked me at first. Now I got used to it, but it can be shocking, yes.
Thank you, Alessandra. So I think we have, at least I see only one question from the audience. So I think now's a good time to ask it. Maybe we can show the QR code just in case again, although I did see that 17 people joined. Maybe you've gotten some new questions in your head from listening to what Alessandra has shared. But there is one question, Alessandra, from the audience. About safety and safety as a woman, and whether it is safe as a woman in volunteering and in Ghana, where you are. How do you feel personally, and have you felt any unsafe moments? How have those resolved? How is it for you there?
Yes, that's a really important question. So what you might need to know for the context is that Ghana is a Christian country, but so 70% of the population is Christian, but there is a strong Islamic presence, and the town I live in is Islamic. So what you might actually think at first is that going out the way I am dressed right now could feel unsafe. That's what they told you in the beginning. They told me in the beginning that going out like this, it's not very advised, for example. And truth is, yes, also you might get many people looking at you if you show like this. But that would not mean that you're unsafe. Also, being a white person, you're very much looked at because there are not many. Also, so kids can be very curious, and you might feel that you're not safe because you're very much observed. The truth is, you are safe. There's a big sense of community here, and I really feel it. And especially in my neighborhood right now, I think they know me, and I really feel safe even if after dawn I take a walk. It's okay. I actually got to make friends with old people neighborhood here, and which is pretty funny because right now I walk alone and I greet them and they ask me how my day is and where I come from, and we exchange some chit chats. So it might get some time to get used to it, but it can be very safe. Of course, if you're not careful, it can be unsafe, meaning that if you go out at night with a particular clothing that is not really suitable for the environment, you can, of course, get harassed, but that happens anywhere, not just here. It can happen in Europe. Honestly, personally, nothing ever happened to me. Sometimes I use shorts, but most of the time, for example, I wear like t-shirt that cover my shoulders or long pants, and that I think is the most advised thing to do. But also it's advised not to show out. For example, my iPhone, when I walk around, is not something that I show easily. I try not to show out too much because they already perceive you as rich. So you might just try to keep try to minimize yourself with the environment, and it's all gonna be okay, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Cultural differences are there, and that is something that we, if you volunteer with Mondo in these countries, we prepare you for. And you have a hosting organization there who are well aware of the context, and they will brief you when you arrive on the security. And we also, our partners locally there, they're always long-term partnerships. So they're not new organizations that we found and that we deploy to. We know kind of how they work. We've monitored them, we visited them, we work in collaboration with them on a lot of different projects. And they also abide by our own Mondo's policy on no tolerance policy on harassment and etc. So they ensure that the volunteer stays safe throughout the deployment. Because our time is running short, I want to see if there is any questions from the audience directly, because there's no other questions from Menti. Ei lase lisada. Okay, then if anyone has a question from the audience, then please raise your hand and I can repeat it to Alessandra. Yes, please.
Do you need to have like a college degree or some special type of education to go there?
Yeah, just to repeat, someone asked if you need a college degree to go and be deployed. Very quick answer, you don't. It's a bonus if you have some previous education or previous experience that's related to the role where you are applying to, but it's not necessary. I don't know if you want to add anything, Alessandra, from your side.
I completely agree with what you said. In my case, yes, I did study for this, but many people here didn't. One French volunteer here comes from a total different type of field of study, and it works just fine. Everyone has his own things to bring during a project, and wherever you bring your creativity, it's helpful here.
Okay, thank you. If you have any more questions, our table is in the area, Mondo, so feel free to come and ask more questions, but I'll wrap up here so we can carry over to the next part. Thank you so much.
Ja, suur aitäh, teeme suure aplausi.